Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to Business Point on Global Television. And of course, on Business Point, we x-ray Nigeria's economy. We talk about tech, innovation, as well as government policies. And today, we're diving deep into securing the future, where we look into the fascinating world of innovative approaches to insurance and the protection of government assets, especially in an era marked by rapid technological advancements and shifting global risk landscapes. The way government protects and ensure their assets has never been more critical. From infrastructure to data, the assets government must safeguard to ensure national stability and security are vast and varied. Today, we will explore how cutting-edge technologies like artificial intelligence, blockchain, and the Internet of Things are revolutionizing the field of asset protection. We'll discuss the importance of adaptive strategies in the face of challenges such as climate change, cyber threats, and geopolitical tensions. Our expert guest on the program, Chief Obasim Guta, who is a business consultant and the CEO West African Business School, will share his insights on public-private partnerships and how these collaborations are paving the way for more robust and resilient asset protection framework. Good morning, Mr. Awasi.
Good morning. Thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you join us on the program.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning, viewers. Thank you for having me.
Yes. Can you please give us, take us into how the landscape of, government assets and the protection and insurance as a whole, briefly?
Yeah, thank you. Insurance is a risk management strategy. In risk management, the risk is there. You either manage it or avoid it or do nothing. So, but the critical aspect of risk management, which is practical, is insurance in this part of the world. Insurance, you have two types of insurance. You have the non-life, which encompasses property, motor insurance, building all properties. Then you have a life insurance area, whereby you cover the life of human beings. On both sides, for insurance professionals, they call it products. Life insurance product, non-life insurance product. So for government, of course, government insures its employees, and they also insure its properties. So, and all this type of insurance is embedded in a law, which is Insurance Act of 2003 in Nigeria. That's about the act have been there for about 21 years now, and of course, several people in the industry and the policy and the practitioners, they have been craving for amendment of that insurance act, because it's actually 20 years, because of the way the world is moving, like you mentioned, artificial intelligence and otherwise. So we really need the National Assembly, to amend that insurance act, so that to bring in other government assets that were not there before, but are there now. We need to begin to, ensure those things that are very important.
Thank you. Just like we mentioned, talking about artificial intelligence and all of that, let's know, because there's a development of the blockchain, artificial intelligence, and all of that. Talking about the role of technology, particularly, how is technology being leveraged? Can we talk about, is technology being leveraged enough in the aspect of insurance and securing of government assets, and then also how is it leveraged to enhance the insurance and protection of government assets? Can you give us examples of successful technology implementations?
Yes, of course we know that AI is it's not new, but it's relatively new in Nigeria, and for government will pick up. The private sector have moved in terms of AI, but the government sector is just starting. So, but for insurance companies in the private sector, licensed by NICOM, of course, you know that NICOM is the regulator of insurance in Nigeria. So as we are moving with AI in other countries, Nigeria is catching up. For instance, some insurance companies, have started doing something because AI, is applicable in every sector. Insurance will benefit from AI. For instance, customer service is very key, claims is very key, whereby even the insurance contract itself, that the insurance is a contract, whereby the blockchain technology can be used, to ensure that the contract is well prepared. Then for AI, for instance, the insurance company can use it, for instance, to know the number of vehicles they are insuring. In area of claims, the AI will help them. For instance, I worked for insurance companies for not less than 19 years. So in those days, you use just like the lawyers, you write a lot of reports, just reading your manual. But in today's world, where you have technology that can actually help us, so AI becomes critical for management of insurance processes. So for government, of course, the NICOM need to begin to think about how they can regulate even the AI. For instance, if an insurance company comes to NICOM and says, hey, we want to use AI technology to manage our entire process, from taking the policy to my administration to claims to all the processes, even when you have a claim, if you form the insurance company, in minutes, will the insurance company be able to treat your claim in a matter of days or even hours? So those are the issues that will come out that we need to resolve.
We know that these are the issues. Aside from the issues, I should have asked that question earlier, the challenges that we face before we talk about the role of AI in this. What are the challenges, the prevalent challenges in this insurance sector, and then for government assets as well, and securing government assets? What are those critical issues that are prevalent? And then I want you to also establish, you just mentioned that in the areas of in some areas AI has been able to help and do all of that, but let's look at the issues, the challenges that are faced in that sector first of all.
Okay, in terms of insurance of government assets, yes, under the Insurance Act 2003, there are compulsory insurances. When I mean compulsory, it's mandatory that you must do it. For instance, you must insure your car. The Insurance Act is a federal legislation. Under the Act, you must insure every car on the Nigerian roads must be insured. Building under construction must be insured. There are about 6 compulsory insurances. I just mentioned 2. Then the third one is that the life must be insured. For instance, because there are various areas that insurance is made compulsory in Nigeria. If under the Pension Reform Act, 2004, amended in 2014, insurance is compulsory for companies that have not less than 5 employees. That's another aspect that government have brought in insurance under the pension scheme. The pension scheme say that every company, every organization must have a pension scheme for its employees. The state governments, the federal government, because Insurance Act covered everybody, no exception. So we find out that those properties that are supposed to be insured, I'm not sure that even government is complying with the act. It's a challenge. I mean, it's just like in several other areas of our life or Nigerian system. The government will make a law. To obey it is a problem. And who will sue the government? Nobody. If not recently, that the SERAP, there's an organization called SERAP. They keep on, monitoring government, suing government in several aspects. If you come into insurance, nobody is doing anything. Okay, another challenge for government insurance or government assets is that insurance is supposed to be an annual contract, the property insurance. So also the life insurance aspect. When you do insurance, you must pay the premium. And still under the act said no insurance, no premium, no cover. That means you can do insurance, if you don't pay the premium, there's no cover. And consistently over the years, government do insure its assets and its people. But another question is, do government pay the premium? It's an issue. It's a challenge. Because I've read several government budgets. Rarely do you see insurance premium under the budget. Even if it's captured under the budget, you find out that some ministries or agencies, or departments will not remit that premium to the insurance companies. I'm sure that as we speak, the insurance companies are being owed billions of naira by government. Government not paying. And you find out that government is also technically hiding under that no premium, no cover. Are you getting me? It's a challenge, serious challenge, because you do insurance business with an insurance company, you don't pay the premium. It's supposed to be January, February to December. It depends on the period, but it's usually an annual contract. Okay, if you take an insurance policy and you don't pay the premium, because the insurance companies are always customer friendly, they can give you for instance, you insure your car in 1st of January, and you said you can even make part payment, then you said I will pay, just like every other product. You pay. Insurance company will allow you, February, March, just when the company for you. It's not a business that they must insist. Ordinarily, it should be a must, but we really obey our laws, including government. When government insure, they don't even pay. It's just very few of them that for instance, the CBN, the NNPC of this world, they will pay because their own part of government function is more or less business, related. But for the core government department, the ministries, departments, and agencies, take for instance, government does its budget in January, and before you start to release budget, it's already May or June. Does it make sense? For the insurance company, they're already on cover. They have taken the risk, and it doesn't prevent any government department to make a claim. They must ensure that they have the papers in January, and because insurance companies don't want to lose their business, they will release the papers. For instance, if a government agency has about 500 cars, and the renewal or effective date of effective cover in 1st of January, usually some government department will come and collect the motor insurance because it's done as a fleet. That car is done as a fleet, in order to cut the cost. So they collect all the papers in January and start using it. But they will tell you that budget had not come. The budget comes in May, that's 5 months, after. They have not even paid. But if they have a claim within that January to May period that they have not even paid the premium, they will still come and make claim. You know why? The argument is that we have a cover, But if insurance company say, Oga, remember the Insurance Act, whereby no premium, no
No
cover.
cover.
We say, okay, next year we'll remove the business from your portfolio and give it to another company. So these are the challenges. Then the situation in the country is also a challenge. You know, for instance, this era of kidnap, you know, terrorism, it's a very high rate for insurance companies. You know, I'm sure that some insurance companies are not finding it very easy. You know, for instance, if a man has an insurance cover, either for his car or for his house, and is destroyed, or himself he kidnapped or killed, you know, the family will come to insurance company and make a claim. You know, where does the insurance company claim for? Nobody. You know, ordinarily there are some things in Nigeria that government should actually, you know, fund insurance of those areas, because there are some risks that insurance companies cannot take. You know, they take a risk that can be financially assessed, you know, financially determined. So, but risks like terrorism, kidnap, no insurance company can underwrite it now. But government should ordinarily set up a fund. You know, instead of paying ransom, you set up a fund. It could be a sinking fund that if somebody is kidnapped, if somebody suffer terrorism, you know, risk. You know, for instance, if the Boko Haram bomb a certain area or kill some people, there should be compensation. Are you getting me? That's what it should be. In other climes, they do it. You know, the challenge we have in Nigeria is that in the area of protection, a lot of things are distorted, and it's because of government, you know, the way that the country is being run, the exposure of to high risk in Nigeria. You find out that certain things are taken for granted.
Rightly said, but how do we enforce, like you just said, that ideally lives are supposed to be insured. Every life is supposed to be insured. Cars, but will you agree with me to an extent, to a great extent, that we don't comply with some of these things? Yes, we don't comply with them. How do we enforce compliance now? I know that, like you rightly said also, that the government is supposed to play their part in terms of funding these insurance companies. But now, in a case where we also see that the government is defaulting in the area of, you know, paying premium, who enforces this? How can AI come in to enforce or monitor to ensure compliance? Is there a way we can go about this to ensure that there's compliance and, you know, there's some sense of direction in the insurance space?
Yes, you know, in Nigeria, the government is the biggest spender. The government is a driver of every business. I mean, so it's a constraint. The ordinarily insurance companies should move on their own, you know. But when it comes to enforcement, there's nothing insurance company can do. It's only government that can enforce. Okay, take motor insurance. Why I use motor insurance? Because that's the most common type of insurance we know. I mean, you have a car, you have even third party, you know. Third party says that's the minimum you must carry. People, when you get on the road, you show it to police, they know that you have insurance. You have experienced that. Yes. So now, if somebody has a car or any other type of insurance that is compulsory by law, you know, but there's no government agency that enforces, you know. Ordinarily, the National Insurance Commission, of course, the NICOM is trying, you know. For instance, they have to use a compulsory building under construction. In Abuja here, you see high-rise buildings, you know, that government is being constructed. I doubt if those buildings are insured. Are you getting me? So who is enforced? When the government is constructing by itself, and NICOM is a government agency, And okay, let's say NICOM write to the Minister of Work or the Federal Minister of whatever housing and said, I'm not sure that, I mean, NICOM cannot even come up with any justification to write to any government agency. It is, if we are very serious in this country, and the Minister of Works or the Minister of Housing knows there's a law which say that you must ensure a building under construction. Are you getting me? So definitely we don't need anybody to start pursuing them or chasing them around or need to ask whether you ensure this building under construction. It is something that is compulsory. So now enforcement, nobody is enforcing. Nobody. You know, what the NICOM does is to, at times, they write the private companies, you know, to make sure that they are complying with so like mentioned those 6 compulsory insurances. They want to make sure that those companies are complying with it. Another area is if you take the oil and gas industry, you know, still under the Insurance Act, the oil and gas business in Nigeria must be compulsorily insured. You know, there's a section of the act that says 45%. If I need to get my record correct, must be insured. You must take the insurance from an insurance company in Nigeria. You know, so all these things are there. So the NICOM focus more on enforcement in the private sector. Are you getting me? But in the government sector, where NICOM is also a government agency, you know, NICOM is, you know, helpless. For instance, all the assets, even the presidency, you know, they are supposed to be insured. Those aircraft, the presidential aircraft, all the properties, all the cars, every property in government must be insured by virtue of that compulsory insurance in the Insurance Act. Are you getting me? So, but you find out that most of those assets are not even insured, you know. And if at all is insured, government don't pay the premium as at when due. They may pay it maybe when they leave the budget, you know, in May, June or thereabout. But you find out that the purpose of funding the insurance business is defeated. Insurance companies are supposed to be making progress. But when they don't receive this premium, it hinders them. And when government comes with a claim, government will insist that this claim must be paid. If the insurance company want to apply the rule and say, please, we didn't pay the premium, we reject the claim, that insurance company, they will flag it. So it's a real challenge, you know, for insurance companies in Nigeria.
Thank you very much, sir. We'll just take a quick break. When we return, the conversation continues. Please stay with us. We'll be right back. Many thanks for staying with us. Now, if you've just joined us, this is Business Point, where we x-ray Nigeria's economy. We talk about tech, innovation, as well as government policies. And we've been speaking with our expert guest, Chief Obasu Nguta, who is a business consultant and the CEO, West Africa Business School. You've clearly highlighted quite a number of themes in the insurance space, but I want us to look at public and private partnerships. You know, sometimes when there's just the public sectors, there are no partnerships, things can be quite hazy. But over time, we've seen in other sectors where public and private partnerships, where there's a synergy in public and private partnership, there's a bit of relief or some sort of progress or success. In the aspect of insurance, can you elaborate on public and private partnership and then tell us if there's there've been any successful or how successful it is if we have public and private partnership as regards insurance of assets and all of that?
Okay, thank you for that question. In terms of PPP, you know, insurance is a specialized business, and we are talking about carrying risk. Insurance company carry your risk. They carry the risk of companies, you know. The risk is something happen, pay us small amount of premium. If something happen, we pay you the huge amount, you know. So, of course, you know, people don't like taking risk, you know. But of course, we know that in the investment angle, the higher the risk, the higher the returns. So, but in the area of insurance, of course, there are opportunities for PPP, public-private partnership. But because insurance is a specialized business, you know, so it's driven 100% by the private sector, you know. So where government comes in is, for instance, if the federal government can make a policy and said some critical government agencies, you know, like Federal Road Safety and the police, for instance, you know, focused on motor insurance, for instance, you know, there is a need for the government to make a policy and said the Federal Road Safety, the Nigerian police force must ensure that every car in Nigeria have a genuine insurance, motor insurance certificate. You know, if the government create a platform whereby Federal Road Safety and the police and the insurance companies can work together, you know, maybe they set up a committee or a team or whatever, that there should be signage to enforce. Because if you check the statistics of accidents in Nigeria annually, is one of the highest, not in Africa, the whole world, you know. So you find out that for every accident is somebody that caused it. Are you getting me? So now the motor insurance cover, that third party means if you have a car and you are driving on the road, it's on the road, and you hit somebody, that somebody is a third party. The third party can be a person or somebody's property. You know, find out a car can swerve off the road and hit, you know, women that are selling. You know our culture, you know, sort things. No, now, if you don't have an insurance, motor insurance cover, you know, you are just on the road moving. Who will compensate those people that, or those property that, you know, were damaged, or somebody that lost his life, you know? So that is a risk management area that government must deliberately, you know, find out how they can work with the insurance companies to make sure that these things are working in Nigeria, because they are working in other climes. And we don't know why it cannot work in Nigeria. That is why government, especially this present government, led by our president, Asiwaju. Asiwaju is a learned person. I mean, so he knows all these things. He has been in business. So all these areas are of course, it's not everything that the president will do, but there are things that should come to his mind. Let's do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 very well, so that beyond his regime, they will be working. Government is to continue. So somebody somewhere, must come up with these plans to make sure that this are working. So private-public partnership is very, very, not highlighted. It's not properly done now between government and the private company. But of course, NICOM is doing a lot under the current Commissioner of Insurance in Nigeria. They are doing very well. There are things in the society that you may not find a solution based on the way that the society is running or structured. But of course, we know that government is the driver of everything. So those of us, or those of them in the insurance sector and the government sector, to make sure that everything is working, because it concerns the life of human beings, it concerns our nation to be working properly. So that's where we can begin to have a reasonable resource in terms of PPP.
Okay. Beautiful. Now, cybersecurity is one issue that has been long coming. Just recently, a policy is initiated by the federal government to impose on financial institutions a levy of 0.5% for every transaction. This is a cybersecurity measure to mitigate fraud and other fraudulent activities as regards the internet, cyber security. And also, I'm sure that we have cases of cyber security. Where do we go from here in terms of ensuring government assets? Because whether we like it or not, most of the cyber crimes that we have are targeted at government assets, government infrastructure, government basically. So what measures are we putting in place? That would lead me to make you answer the question of whether or not this measure that is being taken by the federal government, a levy to ensure that this is for paying for cybersecurity now, to ensure that there's policies are enforced to see that there are reduced cases of cyber threats and all of that. Is that the way forward? Do we now begin to have such levies as well to see that government asset is secured? What's the way forward? How do we ensure this?
Thank you. This question is very, very important. Cyber security is a technology risk. I don't even know where CBN or whoever or the National Assembly came up with the idea of
the levy
for cyber security. For me, I mean, it doesn't hold any water, if I may use that word. Cyber security, if at all there should be any fee, to manage the risk of cyber security, the National Security Advisor, the National Assembly, or the CBN, they cannot come up with to impose a fee on Nigerians. We know how the economy is. I mean, you're telling me if I have 50,000 in my account, I go to collect 10K, 10,000 for maybe for a weekly, just for living, to take care of my family for that week. You collect 0.5 or 0.5 from that for cyber security. The most annoying thing is that The National Security Advisor or the National Assembly or CBN, they will not even be giving us the update or reports about the usage of this 0.05%. Of course, you know that every transaction you do with the bank, they charge you a certain amount of money. Whether it is 1 naira or 5 naira or 56 naira, the bank transaction fee is there. So why bring up another fee? It's like multiple taxation. Are you getting me? It's multiple taxation. And it's not fair for government to bring such, policy now that the citizens are fighting left and right to survive. Are you getting me? That's not. You see, I know, and of course, I know that it's a strategy for the government to build the resources for the base.
But the question now will be, what would be done differently? Because we already have charges, exorbitant charges for bank charges, ATM transactions. Those charges are to protect, in some way, for the bank to ensure that we have access to these monies. The question we are asking is, how well will what will change now? Will our monies be secured now? We now have cases where people will wake up in the morning, just like we saw Sean George, a veteran actress, wake up and was crying that money was moved from her account. With this levy now, Nigerians are already complaining of taxations. With this levy now, would that make a difference? And what is the way forward?
There will be no difference, nothing will change. What government would have done is to train a lot of Nigerians, on the, for instance, government can run out a program for the Ministry of Education or Ministry of, or any other ministry, to train, let's say, 1,000 or 5,000 or 500,000 Nigerians who are cyber security experts, or hackers. What in terms of the risk of cyber security, if people guys somewhere in the world are attacking, the IT system, in Nigeria or in Africa. So for you to defend, to make your system to be working, you need people. You need to enhance the skills of Nigerians. So government, the most important strategy or means of fighting cyber security is for government to train people, give people the skills for them to be able to, attack any malware or whatever. Not by introducing fee. Nothing will change, because the fee, of course, you usually in another way, be used for other things that you don't even know. Of course, the National Security Advisor is not coming. I don't know how the fund will be allocated, but I can assure you that I don't believe personally that the fund will be used for anything. For anything, So the right thing for the government, if a law is done, if a law is passed, you can withdraw the law. The purpose of the law is to make the society better and to better the life of citizens. When the economy normalizes and everything okay, you can come up with such laws. So that's the way I believe it should be done.
So my question now is, what do you think as regards cyber security for insurance? What measures should the government take to ensure cyber security and insurance of government assets now?
Yeah, I mean, insurance companies have a cyber security policy. Government can take the policy. I'm sure that some insurance companies, because the concept of insurance, let's say all the IT systems, all the technology systems in government is about $1 billion or whatever. Insurance companies in Nigeria, they what we call co-insurance. About all the insurance companies will take part of the risk, and each insurance company has what we call a reinsurance. That they have a reinsurance company somewhere in the world that is covering every business they are doing. So government should take a cyber security policy instead of levying fees. Are you getting me? You can see the difference. If government take a cyber security insurance cover, which is cheaper, they don't need to introduce any compulsory charges from your bank transaction. I mean, getting me? What worries me is that most things government does, they don't involve the private sector. The cyber security is a risk. Who are the risk managers in Nigeria? It's insurance companies. If a committee is set up by government to decide on this fee, and they bring in, they should have brought in an insurance person. Are you getting me? Whose contribution will be is better, because we are cutting costs. Even government is saying they don't have the money. Okay, now you are mopping up some funds to be sat somewhere. I don't know what's the purpose. But if the government come and say, hey, insurance companies, come and we want a cyber security insurance policy, it's cheaper. Like I told you, the concept of insurance is a pool of risk. Insurance companies will pool the risk. The other cyber security policies in their portfolio, so that if any event happen, insurance company will pay. Are you getting me? It's cheaper for government to take out a cyber security insurance cover than charging Nigerians 0.5% or 0.5% for every transaction. I mean, so it wasn't a well thought out decision. In my own opinion, it wasn't a well thought out decision.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Just before I ask you the final question, climate change, we've been advised to go green. It has been a topic across all sectors, and I'm sure as well it's affecting insurance as well. I would like for you to establish, how climate change can affect the insurance industry as well as securing government assets. Then I'm sure there are measures that are taken to secure government assets, I beg your pardon. And then how is climate change, coming in the way?
Yeah, thank you for that question. Climate change is a global issue. It's affecting everybody. I mean, the environment is changing as never before. You find out even the flood, flood is a risk, so, and insurance companies cover flood. Other type of environmentally related, risks are covered by insurance companies, depending on the type of products or cover. While also in some type of insurance products, things like flood or drought are exceptions. What I mean by exception, they are not covered. They are excluded from an insurance policy. So now, climate change is a global issue, national issue. Every country is looking for a solution. For Nigeria, of course, if the Nigerian government, every committee, every effort be made, insurance people must be carried along, because they must have something to offer to government, in terms of government access. There are, of course, let's take for instance the recent flooding or rainfall that fell, and the part of the prison, one prison in the Kuje fell down. Are you getting me? So I'm not sure that building is insured, because if it is insured, an insurance company that is insured the building must regularly or at intervals go to inspect. Are you getting me? And when they inspect, they say, hey government, you must renovate, and it's to sustain that building, because insurance companies don't just insure. They must do
monitoring.
Yes, they must monitor to make sure that the assets they are insuring, are in perfect condition, to avoid any, damage or whatever, which he brought a claim. And when you come to claim, insurance company is a loss for them. They are losing money. So it's a business that's well organized, and it's left for government to tap into that business. Government to be serious with insurance in Nigeria. Government is not serious. Government is not serious. Sorry to say that. But we believe that, I mean, we will make progress. The current government should make a difference. That is our expectation in every area.
Okay. You just answered the final question, which I was going to ask. Your final words of advice to policymakers, especially as regards, insurance. And let me ask you, from what you've been seeing now, can you project what the future of insurance and the security of government assets would be like, let's say, in the next 5 to 10 years from now, now given the state of insurance in Nigeria, and if they were to implement some of these ideas that you have given, what do you think the future of Nigeria would, insurance in Nigeria would look like? And then your final advice for policymakers.
Thank you. The future of insurance business in Nigeria is very bright. Very bright. You find out that in the Nigerian insurance space, there have been the foreign investors are coming in. They are coming to buy a lot of companies or to buy part of the company, and they are working together with Nigeria. So the future of Nigeria insurance industry is very bright. So now that you find out that the contribution of insurance to GDP is very low, it's not up to, there's a gap, the insurance contribution to GDP is not up to 1%. And you find out that Nigerians are not insurance conscious. But this kind of your program, is a kind of enlightenment to the public, to everybody. You should take insurance serious in Nigeria, because insurance is a risk management mechanism. You cannot avoid it. For every human step, for every development, there must be an insurance content. Every government move, every development involves insurance. So the business of insurance is very bright. Coming to policy makers, they should focus on insurance. Insurance is the best tool to manage a lot of risk, that are inherent in our system. They are making the right policy on time and enforce that policy. For instance, of course, you know that under the what we call Nigeria Social Insurance Fund, you also have the National Health Insurance Authority. So all those things are meant to help us as citizens, to manage some risk. That, of course, life is also risk itself, to handle all this kind of. So it's important for policymakers to take insurance serious. Every government ministry should have an insurance officer. Are you getting me? That should be given, so that, one, it will provide employment. Government should employ insurance graduates or insurance professionals. Every ministry should have an insurance office, and under that insurance office, you have about maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 employees working that day. What is their work? To focus on the risk that ministry is exposed to, and also to use insurance tools to manage those risks. It's very important, But for instance, now, in several ministries, they cannot say any insurance officer. You must go to the director of admin or finance, who is not an insurance person. How can he analyze the risk that the government ministry is facing? So it's important that we do all these basic things. It's not a rocket science. Things you can do to make life easy.
Thank you very much, Chief Obasanguta. Indeed, your contributions are really very valuable. Thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me.
We hope that you grace our platform again.
All right, thank you.
All right. Yes, that's the conversation on the insurance and securing of government assets. And we've been speaking with Chief Obasanguta, who is a business consultant and the CEO West Africa Business School. On that note, this is where we draw the curtains on Business Point today. Do make it a date with us tomorrow. Don't forget to follow us on our social media platforms using at Global TV NG and other handles now showing on your screen. I'm Queen Agaba. Thank you for watching and see you again.